Next in this Cobrapost expose the Lootwallahas2, we tell you how Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited diverted funds worth more than 4,103 crore rupees to Chola Business Services Limited. This privately held company of the Murugappa Group is a special purpose vehicle which has been used for the express purpose of diversion of funds. Chola Business Services also works as staff recruiter for Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited. This private entity of the Murugappa Group has also received 1,628.36 crore rupees in work contracts. Before we proceed to provide a detailed account of our investigation, we would like to give you a heads up about the findings of our investigation. Chola Business Services works as manpower supplier for Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited. It received 4,103 crore rupees in diverted funds from Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited between 2015 and 2025. Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited has disclosed only 2,045 crore rupees of these related party transactions that took place between 2022 and 2025. The non-disclosure of 2,058 rupees crore diverted by Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited is violation of regulatory guidelines laid down by the Companies Act, SEBI's LODR regulations, and the Indian Accounting Standards. Chola Business Services has made some questionable disbursals further down. The beneficiaries are Mysore Club, Murugappa Management Services and Venkatachalam A, one of Murugappa clan members and promoters of the Murugappa Group. Venkatachalam has been paid salary worth 16.50 crore rupees between 2023 and 2025. The company has also reportedly received 214.80 crore rupees from Cholamandalam MS General Insurance in professional fee and work contracts as discussed elsewhere in the story. It is worthwhile to note that Chola Business Services has claimed 180 crore rupees between 2018 and 2025 in deduction under Section 80JJ of the Income Tax Act for additional hiring of irregular fake employees with CIFCL. Before we get into the details, let us throw some light on how Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited and Chola Business Services are related parties. Both companies are controlled by the Murugappa Group through Ambadi Investments Limited and Cholamandalam Financial Holdings Limited. But the shareholding pattern is not that simple. Ambadi Investments Limited owns these companies through various cross-holdings. On the surface, Chola Business Services is owned by Chola Insurance Distribution Services, Karthik Investments Private Limited, Ambadi Investments Limited, and Ambadi Enterprises Private Limited. The four Murugappa Group entities, respectively, hold 47.99%, 19%, and 13.99% shareholding in Chola Business Services. Chola Insurance Distribution Services, however, has Ambadi Investments Limited as its majority shareholder with 50% stake. While Karthik Investments Trust and Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited, respectively, hold 19% and 12% shareholding in Chola Insurance Distribution, Chola Business Services holds 19% stake in the company. Ambadi Investments Limited owns Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited through another set of cross-holdings. Cholamandalam Financial Holdings Limited owns a majority shareholding of 44.33% in Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited, where Ambadi Investments Limited owns 4.01% stake. Interestingly, Cholamandalam Financial Holdings is a non-deposit systematically important core investment company, and Ambadi Investments Limited has 37.69% of the total 46.42% shareholding that the group owns in it. By virtue of these cross-holdings, both Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited and Chola Business Services Limited are related parties. As mentioned in the beginning, Chola Business Services Limited has received 4,103 crore rupees as a result of diversion of funds that Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited has been orchestrating. We have catalogued these diversions since 2015 till 2025. The company has made disclosures only for the fund transfers that took place totaling 2,045 crore rupees between 2023 and 2025. The non-disclosure of the rest of the related party transactions amounting to 2,058 crore rupees is violation of the Companies Act of 2013, SEBI's LODR regulations, and the Indian Accounting Standards. It is interesting to note that funds diverted to Chola Business Services have further been utilized in a questionable manner. The beneficiaries of this diversion further down are Murugappa Management Services and Venkatachalam A, one of the promoters of the Murugappa Group. Venkatachalam has been paid sums worth 16.50 crore rupees in salary, 4.36 crore rupees, 6.32 crore rupees, and 5.82 crore rupees, respectively, in 2023, 2024, and 2025. Murugappa Management Services, a Murugappa Group company, has received 3.05 crore rupees from Chola Business Services. Curiously, one surprising beneficiary of this fund diversion is Mysore Race Club. The 57-year-old equestrian sports body was paid 10 lakh rupees in 2020. It is a clear misuse of public funds for personal entertainment. A breakdown of the funds diverted further down by Chola Business Services is as follows. Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited may have made partial disclosures about funds it has diverted to Chola Business Services. The question remains, did they follow the due process as outlined in their own in-house policy on related party transactions? The policy requires prior approval of the audit committee and shareholders of the company for any related party transactions. It is important to mention 3 clauses here. Clause 7 of the policy outlines the guidelines for determining the arm's length basis of transactions. Clause 9 lays down the review procedure when an unapproved related party transaction has taken place. Clause 10 is about the need of making mandatory disclosures about RPTs. Clause 10 states, the company shall make necessary disclosures as per the requirements under the Companies Act, SEBI LODR regulations and Indian Accounting Standards, as the case may be within the prescribed timelines. Apparently, Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited has not followed its policy in letter and spirit. Even if they had sought approval for these transactions, it does not absolve the promoters, non-executive directors of Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited and Chola Business Services of their involvement in the violation of the 2013 Companies Act and other statutory guidelines such as SEBI's LODR regulations and the Indian Accounting Standards. Apart from these related party transactions and questionable payments that Chola Business Services has made, the company has claimed a large deduction under Section 80JJ of the Income Tax Act, 1961. It is worthwhile to note that Chola Business Services claims to be providing manpower services to Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited, and these deductions have been made against those services which could have been availed by Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited had it recruited the staff directly rather than routing it through Chola Business Services, thereby benefiting the promoter-controlled entity. Had the manpower supposedly deployed been legitimate, Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited should have claimed the deduction instead of Chola Business Services. It could have made the company and its shareholders, as corollary, richer by 4,301 crore rupees. This also raises a significant question. Why Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited chose to acquire the services of a related private entity in the first place? Why didn't the listed entity go for a competitive bidding for manpower supply? Analysis of the records of Chola Business Services shows that the Murugappa Group entity is utilizing a large amount of funds towards the manpower cost and claiming tax deduction thereof. The company has claimed 180.79 crore rupees in deductions under Section 80JJ of the Income Tax Act between 2018-19 and 2024-25. However, there has been no tax deduction for payments made against services rendered by Chola Business Services in the past 3 years starting mid-FY 2022-23. The potential tax liability on account of these deductions is estimated at 50 crore rupees plus interest applicable. The company has thus caused as much loss to the state exchequer in terms of tax revenue. Our analysis further suggests that the claims of the manpower deployed by Chola Business Services to Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited are as bogus as the deductions are. These irregular, fictitious employees are getting salaries after each yearly interval. Also, the remuneration paid to the manpower is almost at par with minimum wages and appears to be unskilled. In addition, there is a wide variation in salaries paid to employees from 44 crore 75 lakhs 42,444 rupees to 2022-21 to 2 crores 9 lakhs 26,142 rupees in 2021-22 to 36 crore 66 lakhs 75,296 rupees in 2022-23. And finally to 89 crores 45 lakhs 54,025 rupees, more than double, in 2023-24. Furthermore, Chola Business Services has also received a whopping sum of 430.51 crore rupees by Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited in professional fee. But Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited has been hiding all these related party transactions up to FY 2021-22 to deceive the investors and shareholders. The company has in the process violated the mandatory regulatory requirements of making full disclosures about related party transactions. You are watching the Lootwallahas2 a Cobrapost expose on Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited. For more details, please log into Cobrapost.com. This video was automatically generated by an artificial intelligence system using Hagen and may contain inadvertent errors and inconsistencies despite our best efforts at accuracy and quality. We recommend that you peruse and verify the information in this video with the corresponding published story on Cobrapost.com.